Hello, it's been a minute. Hello, my name's Sam. Welcome to my channel. So I haven't been talking about books or even really like reading books very much lately, but I have been buying books. So this is a book haul. Okay, so I have 22 books that I have recently got. I can't remember when the last time I did a book haul was, but I have some books that I was gifted for my birthday back in June. I have books that I bought at a used book sale that happens every year in May, and then I have some books that I bought. So I'm gonna start with the best one. I know you're supposed to save the best for last, but I doubt many of you are going to actually make it to the end of the video, so I want to make sure that this book and my adorable mother get the love that it deserves. So I like to buy the books that I already know that I love. So I read most of my books from the library, and then if I absolutely loved it, then I will buy it. And this book I have wanted for a while, but I didn't like the hardcover. And I thought maybe the cover edition that I did like was like the UK edition, or like just one that I couldn't find in Canada. And a couple years ago, my parents were in like Scotland and Ireland and like the UK, and I asked my mom to look for this book. I said, don't get this cover, get this cover. And she couldn't find it. And I thought maybe, okay, maybe it's not the UK edition. Every time I had gone on a trip, like I'd gone to the States or I'd gone anywhere, I would look for this book. And that was a couple years ago. So I just decided, like, if I was gonna get that book, or if someone wanted to gift me that book for my birthday, they can just get the edition that's in store. Little did I know, my mom never stopped looking for it, and she found it used. She's so cute. She thought that she was so worried about getting it used, like thought that I would hate it. And it's like in really good condition, and you're sick of hearing me talk about it now and you want to see the actual book. It is A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and this cover is the most stunning, beautiful thing ever. No shade to this cover, I don't like it as much. I just don't feel like it suits the book as much. I just think that this is the best thing ever. So if you don't know what this is about, it is written in second person, and it's not explicitly said, but it is one of Dracula's brides writing letters to him after she has killed them. And that's all you should know going in. It's beautifully written. It's one of my all-time favorite books, and I'm so excited to reread and tap it up, and I just love this edition. Also, for my birthday, my husband got me, I want to like lean back more. I'm like tired of sitting up. Okay, I cannot decide how I want to sit. Okay. Also, for my birthday, my husband got me 3 books. I'd given him a list of books that I read and loved, and then also books that I hadn't read, but assumed that would be all-time favorites. But unfortunately, I assumed wrong, because this book I had been so excited to read, because Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson is my all-time favorite book. And I thought that this one was going to be exactly what I loved about that one, like the funny found family, but unfortunately this one didn't do it for me. This is about a woman named Mad, and one day someone comes to her farm and says that they have the same dad, and he had abandoned her when she was younger, and basically this dad just went around having kids, having families, and then would leave those kids when they were young and then go start a new life and have a new family. And he did this like multiple times. So this is a road trip story about those siblings finding each other. And it sounds like it would be heartwarming and funny. And it just like, I don't know, it just did like nothing for me. It was like I felt like it was trying to do that. I didn't feel the connections. Still glad that I read it, but unfortunately, it was a miss. I'm still going to try again with Kevin Wilson, because I love Nothing to See Here so much, and I'm determined to find something with similar vibes, and I feel like there's something in his backlist. He also got me Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, and I am so excited for the movie. If you haven't read the book, don't watch the trailer. It like completely spoils like something major that's not in the synopsis that happens, like, I feel like it's like halfway through, like maybe like 25% through. Anyways, don't watch the trailer if you haven't read the book and you plan on reading the book. This is about Ryland Grace, who wakes up and realizes that he is not on Earth and he has no memories, and he's trying to figure out where he is and realizing that he is the only one on this ship that can save the planet from something that is happening in space. I really want to reread this, watch the movie, and I'm really trying to convince my husband to let me read this out loud to him, like an audiobook, and he's like, no, that sounds awful. And I'm like, well, I think you're wrong. Next is A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Elliott. I absolutely love this book. This is a memoir by an Indigenous author. It discusses oppression and racism and poverty. And it's written in a way that I love in a memoir, where it's like equal parts, you know, author story, but also like really good discussions about like other topics and like important topics. And this is another one that I just am so excited to reread and tab up. And I say that all the time about whenever I do a book haul, because I mainly buy books that I've already read and loved. So I'm always like, oh, I'm so excited to reread it. Have I reread any books this year? I've reread one, Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. But yeah, if you like a memoir that has really good stuff to say, this is it. Last gifted book for my birthday came from my aunt, and it is The Woman by Kristen Hanna. I'm actually not a huge historical fiction reader, but she told me to just read it every time I go to the bathroom, so maybe I'll try that in the new year. I don't even really know what this is about. I think it's about like nurses in the war, and let me make sure that that's correct. Yeah, it's about nurses in the war, the Vietnam War, and I'm a nurse, so she thought that I would enjoy it. I'm quickly going to mention these next three. I'm not going to go in detail about them because they're all a part of a series, and I found these ones used, and that is this is very random, but the 4th, 6th, and 7th book in the Veronica Speedwell series, and I currently have the 5th one, but do I have, oh my god, that was so close. My coffee's up here, oh geez. Anyways, so yeah, I have 4, 5, 6, and 7, but do I have 1, 2, 3? No, because I keep buying them whenever I find them like used. And this one actually I found at that book sale from last year that I was talking about. These ones I just found at like a used bookstore. But if you don't know what the Veronica Speedwell series is, the first one is A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn, and it is about Veronica Speedwell, and she's like not like other girls, but like in the 1800s, and one day she is in danger, and someone comes to find her and says, oh, people are trying to kill you, I'm gonna bring you to my friend Stoker, and he's gonna look after you. And then that guy gets killed, and her and Stoker have to figure out who wants to kill Veronica, what's going on, and then it's just book after book of them bantering and lusting after each other, and it is very entertaining, and they're really good, like cozy mysteries, and I just love them. Okay, next I got these 5 books at that book sale that I keep mentioning. So in May I was trying to read a short book every single day and making like little shorts about every book that I'd read, and in that month I had read The Test by Sylvain Noubel, and it was only like a couple dollars, so obviously I'm gonna get it. And this is just the perfect little short and sweet kind of book. Well, it's short, it wasn't very sweet. It is about a dear who is writing the British citizenship test, and then shit goes crazy. And this is the perfect example of why I love a short book, because you don't spend very much time getting to the payoff of the book, and the payoff is amazing. Another book that I found at the book sale that I had already read is Transcendent Kingdom by Yagayasi. I'm gonna be honest, I cannot remember really what this is even about. I just know that I loved it. This is about Gifty, who's a PhD candidate in neuroscience. Oh, okay. I kind of remember, like, she's also comes from a really like religious family and is kind of like grappling with like science versus religion, and that might be a very bad explanation, but yeah, that's what I got for you right now. This next one I had also already read, and that is When They Call You a Terrorist by Patrice Concolors and Asha Bandil. And this is another memoir that has a similar style of A Mind Spread Out on the Ground, where it has like a good amount of like author like backstory and experience, and also really good social commentary. This is from 2 of the women that were responsible for starting the Black Lives Matter movement, and it is one of my favorite nonfictions, and guess what? One day I'll reread it. Okay, the next one I haven't read, and that is A Bit Much by Sarah Jackson. I remember reading the synopsis of this and putting it on my want to read simply from the first line, which is Alice is 24 and Falling Apart, because I was hoping that it would have like my favorite type of character, which is like that girl that's just kind of a mess. And I've loved books like that. I'll grab a few. I don't know where Nothing to See Here is, and I'm a little concerned. Maybe I lent it to somebody. Oh, I was also looking for Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen, and realized that it's in my book haul. One of the books I bought because I love it so much, which maybe I'll just mention it right now. So these books, the character in here, the characters in here, Early Morning Riser by Katherine Heine, Less by Andrew Sean Greer, Husbands by Holly Gramazio. And those are characters that they're kind of a mess. They're falling apart. They are like awkward and they're just a mess. So I was hoping that this would be similar. And, you know, it was a couple dollars at that book sale, so I couldn't say no. Okay, the last book I found from that book sale is Washington Black by Essie Adujan. And I remember the year before there was a bunch of copies of this book and I was debating getting it because I had seen like one booktuber absolutely rave about it. I can't even remember who it was. But I hadn't really heard anyone else talk about it and thought that maybe it would be like, sometimes I'm just in the mood for like a kind of quick, like silly, kind of easy book. And usually I don't gravitate towards like the serious, more serious kinds of books. But I saw it again this year and figured, you know, why not? Again, it's a couple dollars. When I paid, the woman that was at the checkout said that this is like one of her all-time favorite books. So I will make this a priority, hopefully sometime soon. Okay, last are all the other books that I just bought for myself because. And I mentioned this already, but didn't actually formally talk about it. And Emily Austen is definitely one of my favorite authors. This is the first book that I read from her. And it's one of those books that I like really liked it when I bought it or when I read it. And then kind of slowly over time realized that I would call it one of my all-time favorite books because it's just a book that I'd always like come back to in my mind and always think about. And this is about Gilda, who is a lesbian and wants therapy, and she answers this ad at a Catholic church. She goes there thinking she's about to get free therapy, and the pastor there assumes she's there for a job, and she is too awkward and anxious to say that she's not, that she's there for therapy. And so she just ends up working at this Catholic church. And I can really just relate to that social anxiety aspect of it. And again, this is another one that I can't wait to reread. But she just basically is always thinking about death and always thinking about how everyone's going to die. And I don't think she ever did get that therapy. But she does become obsessed with the old receptionist that she's replacing, who passed away, and she is convinced that it is a murder. And it's just her going on her awkward life working at this Catholic church. And I'm probably not explaining that very well because it's been a few years since I've read it. And then I also picked up We Could Be Rats because I had read Interesting Facts About Space, and again, loved it. Probably going to be one of my favorite books of the year. And this was the only other one that I hadn't read of hers. And I just assumed I'd love this one. I loved Interesting Facts About Space, which I need to go buy. I just assumed I would love this. And I did. And this one is about two sisters, and I loved how this one was written. It's not really in the synopsis, but there is like a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. And Sigrid is attempting suicide. And it's written as like her attempts at writing a note, basically. And so it's like attempt 1, and then she's writing stuff and she's like, you know what, that's not great. Attempt 2, and through these attempts at writing this note, you get to know like more about her and her life and like her friendships. And it was just very interestingly written, and it felt different, but it also just had those like characters again that I love, where they just have these like quirky qualities and they're just kind of weird girls. And I just really love how Emily Austen writes awkward women. Okay, these next 3 I bought because I assume they will be all-time favorites. Two of them I am currently in the middle of reading, and then this one I haven't yet read. This is The Wedding People by Alison Esbach, and this is about Phoebe, who goes to this resort with plans of ending her life, and turns out the resort was booked out for a wedding, so she shouldn't even really be able to be at this resort, and she meets the bride, and the bride's like, you can't kill yourself at my wedding. And the synopsis says it's absurdly funny and devastatingly tender, and again, I'm hoping it will have vibes of all the books that I've mentioned that I love so much, where the women are just kind of awkward and a big mess. Okay, these next books I am in the middle of. First one is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, which is the author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which is one of my favorite books from last year. And this is about Sarah Swan, who at the age of 15 was on her way to be like one of the most powerful witches, but she ended up resurrecting her aunt at the guidance of a sneaky fox and losing her magic and getting exiled from the guild. And then it's her running this inn with her resurrected aunt and trying to get her magic back, meeting this little scowly guy and having a cute little romance. And yeah, so far I like it. I'm also 50% of the way through Monstrilio by Gerardo Samana Cardova. And this is about a couple whose young son dies, and the mom in her grief takes a piece of her son's lung and feeds it, and it slowly turns into this sentient monster, which she then names Monstrilio. And oh my gosh, it's so good so far. What I love about a horror book, because it's, you know, in the genre of horror because it's about this little, you know, monster guy, but it's really about grief and like how people then are acting like in the aftermath of like this thing happening. But it doesn't really feel like, it's not like so in your face, like horrific. At least it's not yet. It's just kind of like that eerie tone, and I'm really loving it so far, and I'm glad that I bought this one and that it's actually one of the ones that I am correct about. Next book I have read since I bought it, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about a female astronaut in like the 1980s working at NASA, and it kind of has two different storylines. The first one starts off, one of the characters is in space, and something has gone wrong, and it's trying to figure out, you know, how to get these people home safely and like what's the problem on the ship. But then you only get like a few snippets of that throughout the book. The main storyline is the main character, I can't even remember her name, Joan, starting to work for NASA like in the 1980s, like being one of the few like female astronauts, and you know, about like the sexism and misogyny that they face. And it's also got a sapphic romance in here. I can see why this book is like so loved and popular and why people are loving it. It's objectively a really good book. I did enjoy it while I was reading it. I wanted more of like that like disaster in space, and I wanted more of an ending. Like the book just kind of ends. I wanted more information about, you know, the aftermath of certain things, and I just found that I wanted to follow that storyline more than I wanted to follow like her, you know, trajectory in NASA. Even though I did enjoy that, I just wish it had more. I just wish it was done a little bit differently, and I think I would have absolutely loved it. I think I'm like ending up like a 3 or a 3.5 for this one, but I mean, it was still, obviously, it's like a very popular book. This next one is Katya Noskov's Last Shot by Dana Goldstein. This one I bought because this author is local to where I live. I went into Chapters and she was doing like a little meet and greet book signing, and she signed the book for me, which was really sweet. And I just wanted to support a local author. This is about Katya Noskov, who is a former assassin. It says, before she was forced into retirement, Katya Noskov was one of the world's most sought after assassins. She was comfortable with her solitary life, finding fulfillment in the work she did, eliminating the world of its very worst people. For Katiunoskov, snuffing out lives was a cinch. Building friendships, however, is a more complex mission. One of the reviews had compared it to like Thursday Murder Club meets like Where'd You Go, Bernadette, like that kind of vibe. And yeah, I'm excited to read it and support a local author. Okay, we're on the last one, and that is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. And I actually grabbed this one and was debating buying it. So I just literally stood in like the aisle and started reading it. And I thought to myself, okay, if you read like the first chapter and it's like really like captivating, then you have to buy it. And I read the first chapter and I was like, yeah, that's it. I have to buy it. Like I don't want to stop reading this. Very excited to read this one. Hopefully I can get to it soon. Oh, and I haven't told you what this is about, and that's because I don't really know. This is just one that I've seen like a lot of people gush about on BookTube, and especially people who don't really read romantasy, because I'm not like a huge romantasy reader. People that don't usually read romantasy but like ended up like loving this one. And I think it's about someone who like opens a gateway, I don't know, into the Fae world. I don't know. Either way, it was captivating. The first chapter was captivating, and I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna love it, and that's what I've decided is gonna happen. That's it. Thank you for hanging out with me while I talked about books, and this is what the bed looks like right now. There's just like books all over the floor. But yeah, hopefully, oh gosh. It's been a hot minute since I've made a video, and so hopefully it doesn't take me like a month to post this one, and that I see you again very soon. Okay, thank you, bye.